2, 1, go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Blue Talks. We want to say Happy Easter in arrears to our Christian brothers and sisters. I want to say well done for holding down the fort and trying to fight COVID-19 by staying at home and being socially distant with one another. It's been very telling on a lot of people, which is why today we decided to have a conversation around that, addressing mental health needs during COVID-19 outbreak. Today we have with us a medical doctor, an in-house medical doctor, Dr. Sylvanus Jatto, who will be taking us through some coping mechanisms. He'll just talk broadly and then share a few tips on how we can cope with staying at home. I mean, I was reading on Twitter the other day, this couple, they got in their cars and they pretended as if they were in traffic going to work just to cope with the idea, because I think the boredom of just staying at home was just getting to them, you know. I think I would enjoin us to listen and just take down a few tips, which will prove to be very useful. We had a chat about this yesterday, and I found it very useful as well. So, Dr. Jatto, over to you.
Thank you very much. It's really a pleasure being here for us to address this rather a very topical issue, a need for everyone. No one is exempted from this need because we are all in this together. So there's need to really find a way to address mental health needs during this COVID-19 outbreak. So we just go through a few things we want to address us in terms of our physical needs, because the truth is, when your physical health is not well attended to, it has a way of actually impacting on your mental health. So there's no disconnect at all. They both link into each other. And of course, we therefore need to pay some attention to physical health if we're going to achieve a positive mental health eventually. And if we're able to do that, then we can begin to look at other things we could do to safeguard our mental health. We're going to look at what are those likely signals that you're probably having some mental health needs at this particular time of the lockdown. By what has just happened over yesterday night, broadcast by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, it's become very apparent that these are indeed trying times, and this is going to definitely impact the mental health of people. We're going to look at what specific areas of those individuals' mental health, relationship, marriage, family, financial, all these are the likely areas where mental health will be impacted. Then we'll also look at what can you now do, what are the tips, what are the things you can do to ensure you have a positive mental health balance. That is what we want to achieve, a positive mental health balance at the end of the day. And of course, the employers who right now are unable to run businesses are also impacted by this, and that will translate to impact on the employees who will be having so many things to think about at this time in terms of job security. So we also look at what can the employer do to help the employees who are currently on lockdown and are working from home or just at home doing nothing. They will come help them to go through this period, return back to work with still that positive mental balance that they need to start off, because we're going to go through this. It's going to be over. It's only a temporary situation we find ourselves right now. Now, looking at COVID-19, we've all heard so much about COVID-19. It's no longer news that we are in a pandemic. It's no longer news that we are having rising numbers of cases and accompanying death all over the world. As we all know, over 1.7 million people have been impacted by COVID-19 worldwide. Over 210 countries have been impacted by COVID-19. Over 100,000 deaths have been recorded. This is indeed worrying times. And for every single one of us, there is no game free that will be having all manner of thoughts all manner of concerns, and this is beginning to create some form of anxiety, some form of stress in everyone, and so there's need to address that. Now, the fear, people have fears about, am I going to be one of those numbers eventually? Am I going to have it? Yes, we're doing all we can. A lot of publicity on what should we do. Wash our hands, sanitize regularly if you don't have soap and water nearby, social distancing, the lockdown with the governors and the federal government have done. All these are indeed evidence of the fact that we could be impacted, and people are beginning to think. So when you can have somebody sneeze around you, you are worried. If you have an itching throat, you are worried. In fact, it's been said that people actually are having symptoms of COVID-19 when they don't actually have COVID-19. So it is called somatization. As doctor, we call it somatization. Your body, that fear, that concern will just make your body start. Before you know, you say, my throat is itching me. Oh, before you know, oh, my nostrils are itching. I feel like sneezing. Everybody is worried. I have COVID-19. But like I keep saying, the fact that there's COVID-19 doesn't mean that malaria has taken a trip out of Nigeria. Doesn't mean that the common cold that we used to has taken a trip out of Nigeria. You know, they say when the big masquerade comes out, every other small masquerade is taken. No, that is not what is happening. Malaria can still happen. Pharyngitis can still happen. Sore throat can still happen. You can still have the common cold. So I assure people that, look, as long as you're doing the needful and all that, you are actually okay as far as, of course, we also look at this working from home. It was considered novel for some organizations to say, oh, we have the policy that allows people to work from home either once a week or either twice a week, or depending on the situation. That was like, oh, it was the it means that organization is up there, is technologically advancing, it is changing with the time, the working, the way we see work has changed. But overnight, even companies that were not prepared for working from home, it dawned on them that they have to work from home. And made some organizations are practically only 80%, 90% working from home. And this is a change that were not planned for. These were changes that people were not ready for. As far as we know, we are used to waking up in the morning, going to the office, spend 8 hours there, and come back in the evening to speak with your family and spend some 8 hours, and then the following day that's a COVID. But now you're seeing yourself 24 hours, you're at home. Schools are shut. Banking services are skeletal as it could ever be. There are nowhere to go for fun. Parks are shut. There are no gatherings that is allowed. All this would help. So what can we do at this time to safeguard our mental health? What can we do at this time to remain positive in our mental health? What can we do at this time to, at the end of this lockdown, and like I said, the end lockdown is going to end someday. In China, where all this started, 3 months lockdown, but it's ended, and companies are opening. So it's going to end as well in Nigeria and every other country. It's just a matter of time when we continue to do the right thing. But during this period, we must keep calm. During this period, we must remain positive in our mental attitude. So how do we safeguard our physical and mental health during this period? So safeguarding our mental health to some extent has to do with the fact that this lockdown, as instituted by the government, as directed by the government, is affecting people, to enable the government to curtail the spread, to enable the government to put an end to this eventually. So with this and the rising numbers that we are seeing all over the world, doubling numbers, like somebody says, the COVID-19 infection has the probability that every week it adds a zero to the number of the previous week. So you have 10 this week. It has the capacity and the spread. It's so infectious that by the following week, it can actually add a zero and become 100. And by the following week, can add another zero and become 8,000. All those are the realities. And we're seeing it happen in the UK, we're seeing it happen in Italy, in Spain, and even in the US. So these are areas of concern. The government have taken drastic action that had impacted the way of life completely of people as we used to know it. So these are truly the times that we are in. And so due to this, we are beginning to see people whose livelihood have been impacted. We're beginning to see people whose means of livelihood they are not sure about right now. Yes, there are palliatives the government is giving, but is it enough? Is it enough? That just are the questions that we need to answer at this time, and then we're going to go ahead now to just look at how will it affect your physical health. A lot of things, fears I've talked about it, fear and anxiety about one's health. As humans, we are essentially a social being, and socializing is part of our being. Living our life by interaction is one is those things that we are known for as human beings. So if that is curtailed, then we begin to see changes in the mental response that people will give. Therefore, there are a few things we really need to look out for to see, am I right now having its impact on my mental health? One, are you fearful and worried about your own health to the point that you are somatizing, as I mentioned earlier, where you put that beginning to see symptoms that appear? That is an indication that really you have been impacted mentally. It means that your anxiety level is high, and therefore we need to do something about it. What about sleep patterns? The sleep pattern of people are changing. People are not used to sleeping in the afternoon because they wake up in the morning, they go to work, return, and they sleep at night. All of a sudden you have 24 hours, and so you may see yourself sleeping during the day, and then that affects your pattern completely of sleep, and at night you are awake, you are not able to sleep. But this is having this impact because when you are about to resume normal um, activities, when this is over, you might not be able to cope. So if your sleep disturbed, have you having difficulty concentrating? Right now, all those are symptoms. What about those who have medical?
Hello, Dr. Jatto. Can you hear me? I think we're having a bit of technical difficulty. Okay, while we try to get him on board, please, I think he's having some technical difficulty. Um, he'll be back momentarily. While we're waiting for Dr. Jatto to come back, please, if you have any questions, you can post them directly in here or on YouTube, and we'll attend to them during the Q&A session. Trying to log back on. Hello, doctor. Can you hear me? So we received some questions already yesterday from some of the people that registered. And we're still taking in more questions for Dr. Jatto. While we're waiting for him to come back. I don't know, but maybe can you share with us how you've been feeling, how you've been coping with all the stress? Or has it been stressful? Has it been okay? I mean, I spoke with somebody today and he said he's not even stepped out onto his street in over 1 week. I don't know, how have you been managing? How have you been coping? Is this something you want to share? So we can just, because different people are looking for, they're looking for ways to be able to manage this time. Some people it's time management. Some people it's just readjusting to the circumstances of the environment. So it varies from person to person. I think he's trying to log back on again. Um, so if you could share with us how you've been handling this, it might help a lot. Okay, it keeps going on and off. It was going so well before. So anybody ready to share? So somebody commented on Dr. Jatto's statement about the sleeping pattern, saying that it's very apt. I don't know if you could elaborate a bit more on that. Okay, while we wait for people to come back with their comments, their questions, and while we wait for Dr. Jatto to get back on there, maybe I'll talk a bit about my own experience. I mean, I've had to spend more time trying to stay healthy because you can get trapped into this and where you're either bored or you're getting into that place where all you do is just, find something to nibble on, sit in front of the TV, do some work every now and then, but you can't work all the time. You can't do all of that all the time. So trying to develop a routine. The mornings I go for a run, and then interestingly, I found out initially I didn't time it and I didn't care about the distance, but I just discovered, yesterday that I've been doing a 5 kilometer run. So and it's helped me. I feel better. It's a work in progress, but for something that I never really used to do actively before, and then being able to do that distance, it's been quite, I think something quite good for me personally. It's been good for me. I've been watching things that I eat a bit more. I've been cooking, rather than just relying on or eating out as I was accustomed to. But more importantly, is just trying to stay healthy. And that's been one of my goals through this entire period, hoping that we can, or I can, stay healthy through all of this, not just my mental health, but my physical health. Dr. Jatto, I can see you. Are you back now? Oh, it's gone off again. Where's the internet when we need it? Um, so so that's been one of my experiences. Interestingly, I watch less TV actually. Spend more time in front of my computer where I can, and then try to have more meaningful conversations with people every now and then. So, Doctor, you're back. Hello. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay.
I think there's still a glitch somewhere.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. I don't know.
Okay, great to have you back. Maybe you can take off from where you left off. Okay, seems as if there's still some difficulty in that. So let's try and see what people have been saying. Somebody says security issues and uncertainties when it comes to business. I hear you on that, and those have been the paramount concern for the person. You know, so somebody says due to not going out, there have been high energy levels, and thus around 10 to 11 p.m. the body is not as tired as it would normally be, which makes sleep come naturally. Okay. So maybe you're finding it a bit difficult to sleep now. Um, Somebody says initially I had difficulty sleeping. I was always tired and with lots of body pains because I wasn't sleeping well, mostly awake late into the night. But then I decided to return to my usual sleep pattern. That's interesting. Um, I don't think I have had too much of an issue with sleep. I think I'm one of those people that can sleep anytime during the day. So since you're back, doctor. I don't know what's happening. Hello. Just trying to log on, just trying to get back. It's So exercises are working as well and eating well, homemade meals, but not eat outs. Yeah, some people are doing deliveries, but I'm not sure. They're not that many, and your body's thanking you greatly. I can imagine. But have you been doing social distancing? I mean, we understand the part where we take care of ourselves personally, but in terms of social distancing, have you been managing not working, not dealing with um, individuals directly? Hello, doctor. I can see him, but I think it's frozen. The network must be really bad where he is. And we got off to a great start, so I'm wondering what happened here. So have been coping, not seeing people that you're used to. Maybe we'll ask that. People you're used to seeing regularly. Have you been missing your colleagues at work? Have you been missing your family? Whether it's your parents, whether it's your friends, whether it's a boyfriend, it's a girlfriend, whether it's people you play with, you hang out with regularly, people you go out with on a Friday night. Have you been handling Friday nights? Friday nights are typically when people unwind after a long week or a busy week. So have you been handling that? It's been 2 weeks, and we have another 2 weeks of this. So effectively till the end of April, we're on lockdown mode. And from what the speech yesterday from the president, there is likely to be the rules or the guidelines are going to be a bit more stricter in terms of enforcement. So how have we been managing that? You know, Friday night, Saturdays, what do you do? Sunday, for those of us that go to church and those of us that don't go, how have we been managing that? You know, generally dealing with that. For those of us that have children, how have we been coping with the online school work, the holiday period where you're now and then you're faced 100% now. They want your attention all the time. So, you know, just share your experiences while we wait for Dr. Jatto to come. It might also be based for context for engaging him as well. You know, so, you know, I think I've read some of these conversations. Staying awake till late, yeah, up to 7, you know, but the light headaches. I'm not, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I think I will do what somebody here recommended is to try and go back to a normal routine that that would work for you. 2, 3 a.m. That's you're getting barely what 4, 5 hours of sleep. You know, so let's see. You know, if you could maybe try and go back to your original routine, that might work. But let's wait for the doctor to come back and give us, uh, you know, some tips on how we can handle or deal with these things that we're feeling. Has anybody been eating more? Has anybody been? I know sleep would be something that would work well. But has anybody been eating more? Has anybody been eating less? Who's been watching TV more? You know, I've finished a few. What do you call them? A few series on Netflix. Uh, I don't know, but I'm sort of tired of watching TV as well. So looking for different things to do. Who's reading more? How many people have read more books? How many people have called people they haven't spoken to in a long time? Um, you know, let's engage. Are we back? It's coming on and off. Doctor, can you hear me? Family meetings via Zoom. That's fantastic. Helps you keep up with each other across the globe. That's wonderful. Um, Social distancing is much tougher than I thought. Miss my TGIS and friends. Luckily, I stay with some of my family members, so it isn't so lonely. Oh, I've been eating a bit more. I think I've added some weight, but I also started working out more and reading. Eating more, sleeping more, then exercising more. Makes sense. I think that's a routine. Um, so WhatsApp video calls has been what has been keeping you sane. I mean, with family has been what has been keeping some of us sane. Um, Over the weekend, we saw very interesting ways in which people had celebrated Easter. Some celebrated Easter. I think the pastor was they went to like the parking lot in the church, and the pastor was preaching, and they all stayed in their cars at a distance. That's practicing safe social distancing while also keeping safe, you know, celebrating with one another. So they didn't come out of their cars, and the pastor had a mic and the speaker was preaching to everybody. So it was almost like a drive-in cinema, you know, where you sit in your cars and you watch cinema. I also saw one as well where a priest got into a helicopter and then was preaching or delivering the sermon, hovering around the city, you know, from a helicopter and speaking through a speaker as well. So there have been very, very creative ways in which people have been coping. Someone says I check my weight every 8 hours. Lost weight about by 2 kilograms. That's fantastic. Well done. I also reignited my passion for baking, learned new delicious recipes. Hmm. Can we try some of it? Can we try some of your cakes now? Since you say they're delicious. So, has anybody learned anything new during this period? I know there are things that we might have forgotten, but has anybody learned anything new during this period as a way to cope? In there, somebody was sending me a message this morning about people running up and down the staircase and people running in their compound in the garden, and they ran a whole marathon in their garden. For those of us that have this step count, daily step count that we're working towards. What new things have we learned? What new things have we learned to do during this period while staying safe? You know, I mean, I also saw some people that they had, it wasn't a party, but they had like this. So there's this reporter, I think it was on CNN or somewhere, I can't remember, and he was talking about how he'd never met his neighbors, and for the first time he was able to meet his neighbors. So they had this safe distance or social distance sit out at a restaurant that was close to their place, where they all sat like 5-6 meters apart or a few meters apart from one another. And that was like the first time. So they all took different tables, but that was like the first time he had met his neighbors in 10 years, and he lived in the same apartment block, for that long. For 10 years, he hadn't met his neighbors, So that was it was a really good thing. It was very surreal, for you living somewhere for 10 years and not even meeting your neighbors. Not, I can imagine he probably doesn't even know how they look or what they do. But it's a learning curve. We're all learning new things every day, and I think that more than anything, we might experience a new normal. Has anybody felt like, I'm speaking to a few friends, they've been saying that working from home seems like there's more work. Has anybody experienced that? Like there's more work. Doctor, are you back?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Okay, thank you. Okay. Yeah, I've been trying to fill in for you, but
yes,
I'm nowhere near qualified.
I've been doing quite well.
So thank God you're back. Everybody, Doctor is back, and we would. I will keep quiet now so he can continue.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I was just looking at those signs that we need to look out for to know that we probably been having some distressed mental state, and we need to quickly do something about it. And of course, increase in domestic violence is a very classical way of knowing. When the lockdown were done in some countries, they noticed a 32% increase in domestic violence, to the extent that the government had to respond with providing a way out for the women who were being abused. So there's no doubt that that is a one of the things. So those, of course, increased use of drugs, especially alcohol and other hard drugs. If you think that, oh, I'm drinking more than I used to drink, that could just be a sign of being distressed. So, what are the areas specifically during this COVID-19 that we know that people may show area of concern that we bring about worries? People are worried about meeting business and other targets. If you're self-employed, you've seen people, the response we saw to yesterday's announcement that there was going to be a 14 days extension is an obviously quite enough people were distrusted by that. And if you therefore had working for an organization that still had an expectation of you, or if you are working from home as most of us are doing, those targets are still something that you have to find a way around to achieve, and that can actually bring some form of a stress into people's life. Okay, people are worried about their jobs, job security at this time. Some organizations have just closed shop completely. Those in the manufacturing industries, they can't remotely run the manufacturing machineries remotely. They have to be on ground, and those are not able to produce. What about the job there? Are they still secure? People are worried if where they are working. Yeah, and the truth is that, like someone said, it is after this lockdown when we said, oh, we are out of COVID-19, that the true impact of COVID-19 on our economy, on our business will begin to manifest. And these people are already concerned, people are already worried about this. Am I going to be impacted? Am I one of those that will probably be losing their job? People are worried about that. About salaries, people are not even sure they're going to get paid at the end of this month, the month of March. People are not sure that the organization they work for will be able to pick up their salaries and pay them. So that is an area of worries. So how is my financial future going to look like? A lot of people will be working remotely, and that is bringing a lot of demand on their resources. To work remotely, you need to be on the internet and all that, and so you need to probably power your your house because you are not certain how the public power supply is going to be like for you to continue to work from home. That is an area of concern for people. People might not be able to meet demand of the organization to either enable subsidize that aspect of what they require to work from home. So it's eating into their finances and they are not sure how they are going to be able to come out of it. Then working remotely means that tasks that you are given are now you feel that people you are under much pressure to carry out those tasks. You feel that you are under pressure to still meet the demand of your employer if you are working from home or those that you report to. So line managers need to really come in here to help their direct report to manage this. Of course, with the lockdown, you have the whole family is together. How do I feed the entire family for these 2 weeks, for the 14 days extension? Those who stock probably stock for 2 weeks. Now it become apparent that they need to get supplies for the next 2 weeks because of the lockdown. How are they going to? People are not even certain. I hear someone saying, look, I've told my family we used to eat 3 times a day. Now it has to be 2 times a day. And that is going to come with its own challenge for the entire family. People feel that they are alone right now, but of course, we're going to address how to overcome that. You are not alone. We are all in this together. But people may feel that they are alone, could actually go into a state of depression if they are not helped. What about the social caring as we used to know it in the African setting? In the African setting, you are in your house, you hear a noise in your neighbor's house, without thinking, you run over to try and help. You want to support. You want to find out what's going on. You want to say, it's everything okay? It's everything well? But now with social distancing that is being practiced, not sure what is going on there. A lot of people cannot really respond to in that way. And so people feel that we don't care about each other. That those are the changes that COVID-19 and these are areas people will be worried about and could actually lead to issues. So what can you do? Now we're coming down to attending to these issues. What can you do to manage the impact that COVID-19 lockdown is having on your mental health? I think the first thing is for you to deliberately create a routine for yourself that enables you to go through every day in your normal as close or as a semblance to your normal daily routine when you were not locked down at home. So your daily routine is that you wake up in the morning, you take your bath, you take care of do one or two chores. You have had your itineraries of what you're going to do today structured and written out. um you don't lie in bed waiting for breakfast to be served to be in bed. You go out and take care of that. If you have some washing to do, take care of that. Those have always been, and that should not change. So create a routine that enables you to plan for the day and have 1, 2, 3, 4 things that you wish to accomplish at the end of the day. And if you are remotely working, that even will make it. You wake up, you take your bath, you dress up as if you're going to the office. Probably not with a tie, probably not with shoes, probably not with jacket, but that semblance that you are going out for the day to do something, and then you have where you design or set aside to say, oh, this is where I will be working for. So let's create a routine that enables us to maintain every day as a regular day. And in that way, at the end of the day, you'll be able to assess yourself, oh, what have I done today? Have I been productive? Have I done something that, yes, it's okay, fine, I've done something. And in the course, second thing you need to do to help manage your physical and mental health, in the course of that day, break up your activities. Have time in between carrying out one function or the other, where you can relax, where you can relax your mind, where you can look back and say, oh, what I just accomplished is really good. And for those of us who are working from home, this is the time to have those interval work. Oh, you're probably having one meeting after another online. In between the online meetings, you have to take a time to walk down, to walk around, do one or two things. If you're in the house with a family member, just take a do interval between that time to check on your wife, check on your spouse, check on your children. I hope everyone is okay. Hope everyone is all right, and then you come back to work. Those intervals bring a relaxing time in the whole build up stress that you probably have. Of course, we talk about taking care of yourself in doing three cardinal things. You rightly mentioned in the interval before I came back online that, oh, you are exercising now more. You never thought that you could probably clock 5 kilometers of exercise every day. So we're talking about eat right and healthy during this time, exercise as much as you can during this time, and have appropriate adequate sleep, 6 to 8 hours sleep. This is the time to eat right. And eating right is a function of eating the right thing. Have more fruits and vegetables in your meal. Cook your home. Now there are no delivery of food. You can't go to the restaurant. So take time to prepare some of those things you have read about. Yeah, not necessarily at a higher cost, but you could just put things together that just meet your need in terms of eating right. Fruit, vegetables. I know there are not so many out there right now because of the lockdown, but just prepare something for yourself and eat right and eat healthily. And of course, exercise. I said, look, you can exercise in your little apartment. You can walk up, you can skip, you can walk up down the stairs if you have stairs in your apartment. You can, and I also said that look, COVID-19 is not airborne. Even though we are encouraging people not to exercise outside, and that large turnout we saw of people in the street is not encouraged. But on your street will probably be just like 300 meters. Just walk up and down that street about 4 5 times. You have clocked 1.2 kilometers already, but you have not left your street. Just your street alone, that probably about 300 meters. You walk in, back, forth, and in 4 5 times you have clocked 1.2 kilometers, and you have actually exercised. And of course, if you feel safer, wear a face mask when you are doing that. Social distancing, don't touch, don't hug, don't. Other people may be doing the thing, but give that space. Or you can actually, because COVID-19 is not airborne. One, you need to be quite close to each other for you to catch the droplet, or somebody need to have sneezed on an article or something that you went and touched and you did not come back and wash your hands, and you touch your face or your mouth, and those are still the way of transmission. So on your street you can actually, and then of course sleep, 6 to 8 hours sleep. This is not the time to say, oh, I'm not going to work tomorrow, it's lockdown, so let me watch movie till 4 p.m. 4 a.m. On watching Telemundo or any of those series. 4 a.m. you are still there because, oh, I'm not going to work. That is going to affect your sleep reading. So it's not the time to do that. It's the time to say, oh, I go to bed 10 every day because I come back from work by say 7 and do a few things, and by 10 I'm in bed and I wake up 6 every morning. Fine, keep that reading. Your body clock is already accustomed to that natural sleep reading. Don't at this time reverse it just because you are not going to work the following day. So those are things you just need to do to improve on your health as we know it at this time. And of course, we need to also take time to stay connected. You need to stay connected. We are all in this together. So you need to say, okay, look, I want to check on someone. What is that person doing at this time? How is that person coping? So let's make time to stay connected. It's very important to call on your friends, to call on your neighbor. You have the chat, you have WhatsApp chat to say, oh, how are you doing? What are you doing? What is working for you? Oh, how are you coping at this time? Let's stay connected. Let's encourage one another. Let's just be ready. Of course, be ready to help. Be ready to help. Let it happen. When you help others, you are just going to realize that, oh, I'm still very useful even though I'm on lockdown. So you call a colleague in the office who is working and you say, look, there's this thing I'm working on, I'm not getting. So what is it about? Okay, fine, I'll do something on my system and send it to you just to help you get to your target. And when you do that, yes, it may not have been a direct job role for you, but you have helped a colleague because you are working from home and you have actually contributed to the business being afloat at this time. And of course, let's limit media intake. Let's limit media intake at this time. So much is going on in the big media stations, TV stations, and most of the things you hear there can be frightening. People are sending you WhatsApp messages. Yesterday, somebody sent me a WhatsApp message of what's going on in Ecuador, and it was really something that was distressing. Cops were being abandoned on the street because there are not enough space in the cemetery to bury them. Um, People don't know what to do with their dead corpse, so they leave the dead corpse in the house for 3 4 days before they can get a place to go and bury. It's that bad. But if you continue to feed yourself with those informations all the time, it's going to get to you and it's going to limit. Yes, it's good. And I recommend, if you want to know what is going on, just go to the WHO website and just check, oh, these are the things that happened. Or you go to the NCDC website, Nigerian Center for Disease Control. That is all you need to know. Don't take in all those media information that will really get you. And of course, speak to yourself in the positive light. Now, what are these other steps that you can do? I'm encouraging people to have a medical condition for which you are taking some form of treatment. Please make sure your medications are in supply. Get your doctor to give you a prescription. Get to the nearest pharmacy and take those medications. And of course, fight boredom. Boredom is one of the things that really brings about stress, that brings about anxiety, and that can lead people to depression. And there's so many ways you can fight boredom. Just look at what is that project that you have thought of doing. What is those? Some people probably have talked about writing a novel all this while, and they've never got into doing it. This is the time to sit down and begin to put your thoughts together. You may not complete writing the novel during these 14 or 28 days, but you would have seen yourself put some mental work into that project that you have planned all this while and you've not been able to do it. So let's fight boredom by doing new things. Help the children with their online work, school academics that they are doing. In that way, you're also improving your own knowledge. Many of us have forgotten about that. And of course, let's avoid burnout. In avoiding burnout, it means that you must find time to set limits for your work. I almost fall into this in the early stage of working from home. First day, I just realized I was on my desk. I forgot I had not eaten breakfast, lunch, I had not taken lunch. It was evening. My wife asked me, are you not eating dinner? Are you not eating today? I realized I've been answering one mail after the other. I've been taking one call after the other. And I'm actually going to burn out if I continue like that. So we need to set limits for our work so that we don't get overwhelmed. I just made up my mind after that. When it's 5 o'clock, I of course, I've taken some interval breaks. When it's 5 o'clock, I get up and I tell my wife, I'm back from work. And everybody burst out laughing. And my daughters will say, but that day you have been around all day. I say, yes, I'm back from work. I've closed for today. Yes, I may actually end up say answering one or two mails, but I come with the mindset that I've closed for the day. I've put in a good day's job, and I should actually spend more time with my family at this time. And that will help me to burn out. Of course, focus on the positives. Let's focus, just linking it to not staying too much in front of the media. Let's focus on positive. Yes, we have seen 1.7 million people infected with it, but we have also seen huge number of people recover from the COVID-19. Yes, agree there have been deaths, but we have seen quite a number of people. So many people will still recover from COVID-19. In fact, as we know, there are quite a number of people who have COVID-19 and are asymptomatic, and they just go through it as if they had a normal flu. Just a few or no even symptoms at all. So it's a function of their immune system, just as we've already always known. So let's be positive. Don't focus on the negative all the time, thinking that, and of course, take one day at a time. Don't project too much into the future. Don't project, when you're looking at your financial state, don't be thinking, how am I going to survive in 3 months' time? This is a temporary measure. Things will begin to come back as we go along. So don't project too much into the future. Take each day as it comes. And as you accompany each day, be grateful, show some gratitude, be thankful that you have been able to achieve enough of the day. And as you do this, you realize that, oh, I am not stressed out. I am not overwhelmed by the situation. I am not having negative thoughts. My fear and is not turning into a phobia that I'm afraid to even step out. Um, as you do this, you realize you are very positive in your thought process. And you realize that, oh, my mental capacity is better. I'm even doing more things. I'm even achieving more things. And the overall effect of all this is that mentally you will be in the positive rather than in the negative. So it's important that we take care of our physical body and take this step. We'll be looking at it for specific situations very shortly. Now, one of such is managing anxiety. What are the things you can do to manage anxiety? Like I said, refrain from just saying, oh, I am stuck at home during this 14 hours. That shows that you have not even have anything planned out. But if you have the focus to say, I am finally having more time to focus on home and myself, then this is maybe your time to actually begin to see your concentration and your ability to achieve things becoming more better. So you are not stuck at home. It is a time to refocus. It's the time to make more meaningful use of yourself, your family, and the business if you are working from home. It is your chance to slow down. For those of us who live in Lagos, there's this um, hyper activity. 4 a.m. people are already on the street for the day, right? Level 12, they are still on their way back from home. All over 16 hours related to work. But this is the time to just say, I'm slowing down. I'm focusing on myself. Few things that I didn't have time to do all this while. I can achieve them. I can do them now. That will enable you to manage anxiety, because when you do that, you can say, oh, when this whole episode of coronavirus and COVID-19 lockdown is over, these are projects I'm going to use the full energy that I have to pursue. That will enable your stress level and your anxiety to stay down. In managing stress, stay close to your normal routine. I've already talked about that. It's part of managing your stress and your anxiety. Maintain some semblance of a structure comparable to how you used to live your life before the lockdown started. So if you have children, this is the time to factor your children into your routine for the day, so that they help you to go through and your anxiety level will drop in that way. And of course, like I said, don't dwell so much on the whole endless coronavirus coverage that you are seeing on major televisions. Just choose some credible websites, particularly the WHO, the NCDC, where you go to get the amount of information you need, and then that is all you need to do. That will help you to manage anxiety during this time. 4, a chaotic home can lead to a chaotic mind. So don't let things just happen haphazardly in your home. Have a structure, okay? Have a structure. Do just organize your home. Don't let everyone doing, oh, the father is doing whatever he pleases, the mother is doing whatever he pleases, the children are doing whatever they please. Bring a structure to it, because it is when they do whatsoever that you get into each other's net. But when you are planned out how the entire day is going to look like, when the home is organized, when the home is properly structured and focused, you can see that at the end of the day, your anxiety level is low. So during this Don't say, oh, I'm in the bed, bring food for me in the bed. No, that is, you are going to disorganize your structure is to go to the dining and eat there. The structure is to do some cleaning every day. So let's avoid a chaotic home so that there will be no anxiety in it. And of course, you can start a new thing during this time around. You can start a new thing. Maybe start taking a journal of what is happening or what you are hearing. I see a lot of stories coming out of this COVID-19 at the end of the day. So we need to actually look at that aspect and start something new. Let something new come out of this COVID-19 stay at home for you and for your family. So in that way, you are able to manage anxiety. You are able to bring some structure. And of course, we talked about domestic violence. No, there have been both physical and sexual violence all over the world, as we've seen in so many reported incidents in so many countries during this lockdown. And of course, the system, the government is overwhelmed by managing COVID-19. So they don't really have more resources to put towards actually attending to this issue. Women, just because probably some women that have low financial capacity and dependent on their spouses have become, targets for where the spouses vent their frustration during this time. Probably they are even out of job. Probably they are self businesses who earn a daily living and that is not forthcoming. All those frustrations are some of the reasons why there may be domestic violence at this time. With the restriction of movement, it's difficult to seek help, those who are abused. So you must, those who probably are victims must find a way around it to safeguard themselves during this time. So it is important that if you notice that there's someone in the community who's probably in a vulnerable position as far as domestic violence, don't just ignore. You can help one way or the other to help. But it is a real thing that is happening. We've seen cases of such violence being perpetrated right now. So how do you overcome? First of all, we should understand that the stress and anxiety that relate to COVID-19 is not the main reason why there's increased domestic violence. It could just be that it is already within that relationship. But of course, because of the schedule of, oh, you leave home early in the morning and you come back late at night, people are not getting into each other's space, and therefore the incidence is not very obvious. But now that we are together in the home for 24 hours, then the chances are that this could um, come out. So we are encouraging to each of us to check on one another. If you know of anyone who is probably undergoing, who is a victim from previous before COVID-19, you need to check on them to make sure that they are not being there's no heightened domestic violence to against such an individual. And of course, you must find a way to make sure that the culprit doesn't get to know that the victim is having a chat with somebody. You must have a way of ensuring. And of course, the time out technique. If you are somebody being abused in a relationship, there must be a time out where you are able to go out of that environment and to a place of safety. So you must find a way to do that. So we really need to support one another. We really need to help. We really need to look out for each other. That is the only way at this time to really manage domestic violence. The security apparatus is overwhelmed in enforcing the lockdown. We're seeing other form of crime that is taking the attention of security personnel. We're seeing people being robbed, increase in robbing incidents even at home, not even when you are outside. We've seen robbery incidents during the day. So that is taking the attention of the government, that is taking the attention of the security apparatus. So they may not really have time to focus on things like this that we call domestic violence. So we really need to watch out for each other, really need to check on each other. That is the way we can support each other and help one another out. What about caring for children? Now, just to let you know how important this, the WHO realized that with the lockdown, with the schools being closed and everything, and the entire family staying at home, that is going to be a challenge. So the WHO actually went ahead to say, look, what are the tips that parents can use during this time of being together with every member of the family, including the children. It recommends spending quality time, keeping things positive, having a daily schedule, exercising together as a family, and be honest with each other about what you know or you don't know about COVID-19. So the first step for parents during this time to help them manage their children that are at home is to have a one-on-one time with your children. This is the time to just have a chat with them. This is the time to just say, look, what is going on with you? What do you want to do for today? Have a one-on-one time with the children. So spend quality time with them. Spend set time aside to just listen to them, to just talk to them, to just have an idea of what they want to do for the day and see how you're going to support them. When you do that, then the children themselves will have a scheduled plan for the day. They will not just be loitering around the house. Okay, so for the little ones, tell them, okay, you want to do coloring? Fine. Set them up where they will spend some time doing their own coloring. Of course, they will come to you from time to time to show you what they have done, but they are at that time occupied and they are productive with their own time. For the older ones, get them a book to read. Encourage them to finish one chapter or so a day and come and tell you what they have read or what they understand. In that way, you are helping them to learn even during the close down. And at the same time, you are having that interaction, a place of interaction, of sharing ideas. And with that, you are able to go through. The second is that keeping things positive, keeping positive, using positive language. Children, yes, will have one misdemeanor or the other, but use positive language on them. Praise them when they've done something good, especially for the teenagers. They always want to be acknowledged that they've done something good. If they've helped out in the kitchen to prepare lunch or to prepare dinner, don't just say, after all, you are going to eat from the food. So what is it? No. Oh, you've done very well. Oh, you're going to make a good cook one day. If you're going to make one man happy one day when you get married. Or if for the meals, if they join, oh, well, you are doing very well, so your wife cannot tell you you're not cooking for you. In that way, they begin to see value in those things which are family. So let's have praise time. Let's have them talk to them positively. Don't use negative words that, oh, this is why I sent you to body out. Your trouble is too much, right? That will create some form of resentment in them. That will make them feel, oh, you don't want them anyway. That's why you sent them. They begin to have that negative thought that, oh, daddy and mommy don't want me around. That's why they threw me to the body house. Now that COVID have made me come, they are not happy with me. So let's keep things positive. That will help us to manage the children. Thirdly, have a structured plan, have some structure, have consistent daily routine shaped out. So probably as the day rounds out, you tell, oh, children come around. So tomorrow is another day. What are we going to do? Let them bring in ideas on how the family should work. And maybe even what should be eating. Let them be the ones suggesting, okay, this is what we should eat. Have a structure for every day. Have it planned out. Let everybody be involved in planning out the structure. When they do that, then every child will feel a part of the family, feel safe, feel secure, feel important in the house. So, and of course, part of that structure will be a time to play around with. Oh, just say, okay, fine, from so and so time, we'll put in music, we'll put it loud if there's power, and we'll all have a dance contest to know who dances part, who can dance shaku part. These are things that you just, because to tell you 14 days when you are spending it 24 hours in the same environment could be like 6 months. So you must bring this in, have a structure for the day, and this will lower the stress level everyone is passing through in the family, including the children. Of course, it's not unusual that there will be some misdemeanor by the children, some bad behavior, things that you would have wanted them to do, but they end up doing it. Fine, fantastic. But it says there should be some form of consequence, but once the consequence is over, let the child have a chance of doing something good. Don't say, oh, because of the bad thing you do, you are grounded. you are not going to participate in this thing or that thing that the family does together. You're going to bring some um, disunity in the family. You're going to bring some resentment for the other children who you are now saying they are the good ones. Of course, for any misdemeanor, let them know that there are consequences. No, let those consequences be appropriate for whatever is done, but let them know that they have the capacity to do good and that they will not be deprived of that good which they can do. And that will really help in the bonding in the family. I'm believing that if we're able to manage, do this very well, when the children is leaving back to schools or to their various other locations after the lockdown, it's going to bring a cohesion, unity, bonding that you've never witnessed before. Of course, keep calm and manage stress. Of course, take steps to manage stress. Managing stress is one of, when the family are together, it's quite a big challenge. And of course, you can do that by having time to meditate, by having time to exercise, be open and listen to your children, let them support you in everything you are doing, and of course you also support them in what they are doing. Accept how they feel and give them comfort during this time. And of course, talk about COVID-19. The children should know why we are all at home at this time. My little girl is just 3 years old. She knows how to pronounce COVID-19. Because we'll be talking about it. When we are watching those kids, we watch it together. When we're reading WhatsApp messages, and we read it together. Be open. Let them know what you know about COVID-19. And if they're asking questions that you don't know, also let them know, sorry, baby, I don't understand this thing. I don't really know, but I know that there's a virus out there. It's killing people, and so we need to be indoors. That's why you can't go out to the neighbor's house that you used to go frequently to go and play. We're trying to make sure COVID-19 doesn't come into the house. Talk about it. Don't say, oh, the children don't understand. They do understand. So let's talk about it. And of course, they ask questions, answer the ones you can, the ones you cannot. Let them know, I don't know. I will do more research about it. And at the end, we are all just going to be fine. Financial stress, as we just round up, financial stress is something that everyone, including myself, really be thinking about this time. The world economy will not be the same after COVID-19. That is a fact. The economy of your country, including Nigeria that we are in, for most of us who are on this program right now, this talk right now, our economy is not going to be the same. A lot of resources is being taken right now from the Commonwealth, from the public house to try and control COVID-19, to try and help people. You've seen the security, the social intervention program is costing so much. Setting up the isolation centers is costing so much. All this is going to impact the overall economy and financial stability of the nation. Whether we like it or not, that is going to impact our own finances. So it is important at this time for us to sit back and look at our own finances and see how we can take care of the immediate and plan for the future. First of all is to focus on you. It is important that you sit down, look at yourself and say, what are my priorities at this time? What are my physical health priorities, mental health priorities, and financial priorities at this time? Set them out. How all this will help you to build resilience for the future. All this will help you to build agility for the future. It will enable you to begin to put in place 1, 2, 3 things that you are going to do immediately after COVID-19. And that will determine how agile you are. Because the truth is, if you are so bogged down with the fear that you're going to be in financial difficulty after COVID-19, you're not going to be able to get out of that fear and begin to do something productive and something that will begin to take you out of financial difficulty immediately after COVID-19. So where others who have taken time to prioritize and be able to set 1, 2, 3 plans in motion, kick and start running off immediately to achieve those things and getting their financial stability back, you are still in that depressed state, thinking that, oh, my finances are all gone. that means you don't have resilience. It means that you are not agile in responding to. So let's take time, sit down, prioritize, focus on yourself, do things to improve your physical health so that after COVID-19 you are healthy to pursue your financial goals. Take time to look at your mental state and make sure that you are positive in your mental so that when the COVID-19 you are able to take that. And of course, build your inner capacity and resilience that enables you to take off and pursue your financial goals. Acceptance. None of us planned for COVID-19 and the lockdown. If anybody said they planned for it, that is not true. It came on us suddenly, as it were, and we realized we have to be at home. Yes, some organizations were proactive and began to make plans for remote working for a majority of their employees, and so their business can run. But for organizations that can remotely work, they just had to shut down suddenly. It was a And so there's this paradigm shift on how we live now and how we approach work and how we approach everything concerning, including your spending, how you spend. There must be a paradigm shift. You are not, if you were an impulsive buyer in the past, you cannot be an impulsive buyer at this time. You need to consider, are these things really necessary for me to purchase at this time? Of course, that takes you into managing your spending. Frugality, this is the time to know how frugal you are in terms of managing your finances, in terms of being able to use the limited resources that are available to you right now to go through this period of COVID-19. So you can't go on spending strip. Use you need to focus on the really important things to purchase, which are foods, to some extent medicine in case one is not feeling well during this time. But you need to manage your spending, and that is what will help us to overcome financial stress. Limit the risk taking. This is not the time to just go on a buying spree. Even in your financial investments, you need to be very careful right now where you put it. And so you need probably get some financial guidance if you have investments to do. Or else you go and put your funds in an investment that at the end of the day you are making a loss. So let's look at that. And of course, lean on your network. It's part of helping us to manage our mental health. This is the time to to continue to maintain your contact with friends, with people, your goodwill. This is the time to strengthen your goodwill. Call on people, check on them, because these are the people you're going to need after COVID-19 to be able to keep your business running. Relationship stress, we talk so much about it. Right now, we talk about that, the fact that relationship will be stressed. Love is a 24/7 thing, but being at home together is not. Nobody wants to stay together in one place together for 24 hours, but you should know that your partner loves you, and you love her or him in return 24/7. So if we have to be proactive to keep our relationship safe, healthy during this period. So part of the things, we are all at home. Let's carve time out for ourselves, just to be alone. Let your wife know that, look, between so and so time, I just want to be alone. Let your husband know between so and so time, I just want to be alone. In that way, we don't get into each other's space, and that we are able to manage the tension that may come up in the course of being at home together. So carve the time out. If your spouse says, look, I just need the next 1 hour to be alone, allow him or her to have that time for himself, and that will help us to manage stress. The other thing is to ground yourself in using routine. I've already spoken about that. Let's just make sure every day there's a plan for the day, as it relates to your wife, or as it relates to your husband, or as it relates to the children. There's a plan. Of course, focus on short term and develop those short term plans together. So as a partner with your partner, don't um even though you spend some time alone together, still come together and plan for the 14 days extension together. How are things going to be? What are we going to do during this time together? You need to plan and do it on the short term and on a long term basis together. So that will help. Somebody shared a story. I've just said quickly. um, uh, 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 two individuals who were planning to get married, and as the COVID-19 came up, they felt, okay, since we are not going out, let's spend some time together. Ask the partner to move in and stay with him for about a week so that they plan their wedding and all that together. That was a good move, but apparently they were not ready yet for cohabitation. And that 1 week together brought it very obvious to both of them that look, there's still a lot we don't know about each other. And they decided to shift the wedding forward a bit. So you see, in the COVID-19, that relationship benefited to some extent. They've not broken up, but they're saying, look, I just realized that I'm going to now live, if I get married to you, I'm going to live with you for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. If in 1 week I'm seeing so much difference now, then I really need to sit back to really understand you more and understand how to cope with these differences before I go into the wedding. That's to tell you that COVID-19 will definitely stress relationships. Okay, remember, no one is perfect. Part of managing is that none of us is perfect. We all just a work in progress. So no matter how long you've been in that relationship, both of you are still working it out. None is perfect. Of course, practice kindness in the face of fear. Care about each other. Be good enough to check on each other. Be good enough to find out how the person is doing. Just care for one another. And of course, you are not alone in this relationship. Let your partner know that he's not alone. The fears and the anxiety that he or she is having, that you're willing and available to share. And of course, when it seems stressed up for him or her, let your shoulder be that shoulder that he realized that he or she is not alone, and could actually rest on that shoulder and get some form of comfort and get some form of reassurance. That is what will take us, all of us, throughout this. Okay, as a roundup, what can the employer do? Businesses are closed down. Some businesses definitely will have to pay salary during this time. As government has done so much to curtail, businesses have been impacted by this as well. So what can the business do? The business needs to be very transparent with its employees and communicate to them as things unfold and what are the changes that the business is putting in place to respond to the COVID-19. It is also important that staff are told what are the immediate and future plans of the organization with respect to COVID-19. It is important that the leadership of the corporate organization is checking in on their employees. You can do a call trade. You can set up a process that allows the line managers to call their direct report, how they're doing, if they are working from home, to check up on them, to check up on them family. The leadership of organization need to be sending out supportive, encouraging words onto their employers so that their anxiety level can reduce in this time, because quite a lot of people are anxious about their job security at this time. So the leadership has a lot to do in that. Of course, you can plan meetings on conference call, teleconferencing, just to continue to encourage your employees at this time and reassure them that we are all going to get out. So the employer will continue to do that, and as they do that, they will continue to keep the trust of their employees. For us in Stanbic IBTC, where I am, we've actually developed an app that enables the business to connect with the employees on a continual basis. So through the app, they know where the employees are. Are they working from home? Are they travel? Are they among the critical staff that are coming in to make sure the business is running? So we've done that at Stanbic IBTC, and we is to encourage our employees to say, look, we are concerned about your safety. We're concerned about how you're going through this time. So on our Connect app, you can actually log in your location. You can log in what you're doing if you are working from home. If you are among the critical staff, you can log it in to say, oh, I'm among the critical staff that are still going to work at this time. And of course, through the app, you're getting updates as to what the organization is doing. You're getting information as to what is happening with COVID-19. You're getting all the necessary information to help you keep safe, to help you prevent contracting COVID-19. And so through this, the business is able to remain connected. And I believe many other organizations are probably doing similar things to remain connected with their employees. And that is a good thing to do. For some of business like ours in Stanbic, we also have our employee assistance program. This has been deliberately put in place. We call it our safe space. It is the safe space that we provided for the employee that offers a 24 hours telephonic counseling available for employees to call in. So we've talked about so many issues that has to do with mental health, but some of these times you need professional guidance. You need a psychologist to enable you gain insight, to enable you have an understanding of this thing. So our EAP for our employee health and some organizations have similar provision. So if you are an employee at this time that is having passing through stress, I think this is the time to just put a call across to your employee assistance program provider in whatever area. Is it relationship? Is it financial stress? Is it domestic violence? Is it relationship issues? Is it just things that are really affecting your anxiety levels at this time? If you put a call across to a professional, they will definitely be willing to speak to you. They will definitely be willing to help you navigate the torturous journey and strength of mental health, and at the end achieve a positive mental health that will be really helpful for us during this time. So in concluding, what are my final tips for you? I want to say that be rest assured that we are all going to come out of this. Despite the large number of cases we are seeing, we are also seeing huge number of people getting recovered. In Nigeria, for example, we've seen the number of recovery cases rising. As of yesterday, increasing to 91 out of the 343 cases so far diagnosed in this country. Yeah, we've had some numbers of deaths there, unfortunately, but we have more people recovering than more deaths in Nigeria. So that for me is a reassurance that we will all get out of this if only we just do the needful. Follow the government directives to stay home and only go out when it is absolutely necessary. Two, wash your hands regularly with soap and water. Transmission is by contact. So wash your hand regularly with soap and water, and if that is not available, use hand sanitizers as often as you think you need it. If you have touched a surface that you are not sure what has gone on there. Social distancing, we're emphasizing that. So if you go out, maintain that social distance 1.5 to 2 meters between yourself. In that way, you're able to limit the spread of coronavirus. And of course, stay in contact with people virtually through all the social media, Facebook, Instagram. Just stay in contact, continue to encourage each other, continue to support one another, continue to help each other in every area possible to be able to go through this COVID-19. And when you help others, it is an antidote to depression. There is a there's a self-fulfillment that comes with that being able to help. We know that there are quite a number of vulnerable people in our locality right now. The government is trying so much to do so much to help the poor of the poor and the vulnerable in our midst. However, if you can identify one or two and you are able to reach out to such an individual, and at the end of the day, you're actually helping yourself, realizing that you could actually be of help during this time. So it's been a wonderful time sharing these tips with us. Um, and so we'll still take some questions if there are questions that we need to address. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I want to clap for you for those many nuggets. I know you said a lot, but I think you tried to cover everything as broadly as you could.
Yeah.
It's it wasn't just insightful, but also brought to remembrance some things that, some of these things we know, but we just forget because of issues of life generally. We're constantly on the road, especially in places like Lagos. So thank you very much for such a insightful session there. Some people had sent in questions, and I'm just going to run through some of them now. Um, I know we've shot over our time, but because of the time we lost trying to reconnect you, but when you went off the connection there, we decided to extend this. So thank you all for staying on. We'll be done shortly, just the Q&A session today. So somebody wants to ask, and initially thought, why ask this? But it's a valid question. The person is asking, is there truly a remedy for COVID-19 or isn't there?
Okay. Right now, there's no cure for COVID-19. So there's no vaccine, right? I believe the researchers are doing all they could to see if they could come out with a vaccine. All other treatments that are being given right now are purely experimental. We heard a lot about hydroxychloroquine. We had a combination with zinc and azithromycin. We've heard about Caletra that people have used, antiretroviral that have been used to help. And of course, if you go on the social media, there are a lot of local remedies, which I don't object to at all. If we understand that COVID-19 is just like, or we could say, it's just like the common flu, it's just that it spreads faster, and we've seen some number of deaths that are really disturbing. But it's just like, and so your body immunity will respond to any virus that come in. And therefore, if you can take anything to boost your body immunity, yes, you will probably just fight off the COVID-19 virus. So those local remedies are not does not prevent COVID-19, because you will still get COVID-19 if you're exposed to it. You don't mention social distancing and all the other. But of course, when you take in those local remedies, it tends to boost your immunity, and then you are able to fight the virus better. So there's no cure right now. Every care that you're seeing that be given, even at the isolation center, are things that help the body immunity to rise up to fight the virus. And so anyone you're doing at home right now, it's a good thing, as long as it's not harmful to your body. So you're taking a lot of tea with lime, with ginger, with garlic, with turmeric, and all that, all well and good. They offer you antioxidants that help your body immunity and your body system. But there's no cure. There's no drug, one drug that you take. We have some good report with chloroquine and the others, but of course, we've also seen some people have some complications from chloroquine, and that has come out as well. We've seen some people respond to antiretroviral, using antiretroviral, and they have done well. But the overall is just a function of your body. So there's no cure, no vaccine for now. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Doctor. We hope that clears that up. There's no known cure yet.
Yeah.
Neither is there any known vaccine to prevent it. There's still a lot of them in trial at the moment. Now, another question, how do you manage restiveness during the lockdown? So if you are somebody who is always jumpy, any small activity major, that love to demonstrate all the time. So how do they manage being on lockdown?
Yeah.
I think you shared some tips earlier. Could you just refresh?
Yes, yes. I think that restiveness will be managed if you have a structure to what you want to do every day. So if you have a structure to what you want to do every day, then you channel your restiveness into achieving those itineraries that you have set out for yourself. And so at the end of the day, you're not just resting, but rather you are engaging productive wise in doing things that you can at the end of the day say, wow, I've done so much, and all that. So I know that people, out of the very tight schedule, have so many things around their houses that they would have loved to fix. I call it do it yourself things that would have loved to attend to. But they've never had the time, and they've not just had the time, maybe they've also had the resources or have time to sit down and say, okay, this artisan, come and fix it. This is the time to try your hands out on that. During this time, I serviced my generator myself, so and I changed the oil myself, and the generator worked quite well. Before I would have just
Well done, well done.
yeah, put a phone call across and say, "Oh, Mr. Electrician, please come and service the generator in the house." No, but I did it myself. So the restiveness can be channeled if you just have a structured thing set out every day and say, "Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4 things is what I want to do today." Yeah.
Refocus your energy, channel your energy, and you'll be able to get better results out of it in that sense. Somebody's asking about managing anxiety. I know you mentioned that about dealing with financial stress, relational stress, and general different kinds of stress as well. You just want to give us one or two pointers on that.
Yeah. Okay. So in managing the stress, like I mentioned earlier, we just need to let me just go back. Okay. So we just need to reprogram our mind. Yes. We just need to reprogram our mind in our thinking of this COVID-19, that look, it is not a shutdown or a stuck in, but it's a time to refocus and begin to spend more time for yourself and for your home. And of course, as well as have an organized um, environment. Don't allow chaos to run to surround you. Have it things organized in a way that you can be say, oh, these are the things I'm going to do. But of course, you can also manage the stress by reaching out to help people. You can manage the stress by reaching out to support people who are probably passing through much more difficult times than yourself. Of course, being of help to others. And of course, in your family, you could actually find a way to support your immediate family. Before now, many parents I don't even know how their children are doing their homework, at school. So you could actually, when you now pay attention to the children's school activity, you just realize that you are not stressed out. You're actually enjoying yourself. You are bonding more with your kids, and you are realizing, oh, I actually needed this stay at home. There are a few things I didn't really know about this with my daughter, or that I didn't know, and the connection. And I am seeing in these 4 weeks a more connection between parents and their children, to the extent that the children can confide in them, and then we found out that we're getting better homes, better family unity and cohesion at the end of the day. And I believe that will help us to address our stress level and anxiety.
Okay. I will try and share these slides afterwards so that people can go through and see some of the things that Doctor talked about. Another question here is, what are the self-help cares to prevent COVID-19? I don't know if you want to answer that, sir.
Okay. I say self-help care to prevent. I think the basics. We've always emphasized the basics. The WHO have always emphasized the basics. The basics are washing of hands. The basics are using hand sanitizers where water and soap is not readily available. The basics are social distancing, right? No, the basics are staying at home. Those are the basics, and that's what prevents COVID-19, the spread of that you contracting COVID-19 or spreading. But the others are just palliatives, or are just adjuvants things, and I encourage people to do a lot of that. Um, I take I'm usually, before now, wasn't such much of a tea person as it were, but over these 2 weeks I've learned to drink more of tea with lime. With my wife prepares a lot of that every day. Make sure I take a cup of tea with lime, with ginger, with garlic, with turmeric, all blended together as a paste. And so she makes the tea and just add it to it, and we all take it. And even the children too likes it, they too take it. All this will just boost our immunity. I also encourage people, if you have access to supplements, that vitamin C is quite good in boosting. So if you take 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, of course we know that for those who are elderly, those in their 60s and above, need to really do these things to continue to boost their immunity, so that even if they were to contract COVID-19, they are able to fight it off. So all those are the few remedies. It's not to prevent COVID-19, but to help you boost your immunity and be able to fight off the virus should it be. Yeah.
Okay, let me latch on to the question here about the elderly, and since you mentioned it's quite interesting there. So
Yeah.
somebody was asking on YouTube, says, how will the elderly do exercises outside their houses in view of the strict embargo on the movement of such class of people? You know, we've heard over time that they are more prone to being infected, you know, and with more fatal consequences, you know, than other age brackets.
Okay, one, right now it's not the time to encourage the elderly to go out. So we're going to insist that those who are elderly, in their 60s, they are 65 and above, um, stay indoors and avoid large gathering and avoid going to public places for now. So there are a lot they can do indoors to exercise and to keep themselves active in the course of this lockdown. Like I said, walking around your compound, no matter how short the compound is, even if it's just 10 meters, by the time you go 10 times, you have already covered 100 meters. And the more of that you do, you're actually exercising or walking up and down the stairs, dancing, a few stretch exercises if they're still able, skip on the rope a couple of times just to get their joints moving, just to get their heart pump a little faster and all of that. So all those are the few things the elderly will need to do. And for the elderly, they really need to go out. Please, they should wear face mask. I know we said a lot about face mask not protecting us. I say it this way, that look, if everybody wears face mask, then those who have COVID-19 that doesn't have symptoms will not be able to spread it because the face mask will keep the COVID-19 within them. And indirectly, you are protecting those who doesn't have the symptom. So from that point of view, anyone who feels safer wearing a face mask, I have no problem against that. In fact, I, for one, I asked a fashion designer to design one, um, design face masks, or because as
Can you
doctors,
show us? Can we? You don't have it here for us to
oh,
see.
okay. I don't have it here. No, as doctors, we have this face mask that we wear when we are operating in the theater. They're usually green type. It's that's what we use when we are operating. And so, wearing such things similar to that, these days there are fashionable ones that are not everywhere. If you feel safer that look, I'm wearing this, yes, but at the same time, you won't say you are wearing face mask, then somebody comes and sneezes on your face and you say, oh, don't worry, I'm protected because I'm wearing face mask. Or you see somebody coughing, you go and put your face mask because you are wearing face mask. Or the social distancing, you will not do it because I'm wearing the face mask. No, every other steps you must take for wear face mask. So for the elderly, if they really feel, oh, maybe there's nobody to help them, they really need to walk across the street to a grocery store to pay something. Please, if they can, they should wear a face mask just to keep them reassure themselves that they are safe while maintaining social distance and all that. But for now, the elderly should just because in Italy, the average age of those who died is 78. So somebody said at the end of COVID-19 in Italy, we will see people only in their 50s and 60s with the numbers that we're seeing. So the elderly are really at a higher risk, and we must do everything to protect them right now. Yeah.
I mean, you're right. The case in Italy and Spain are really tragic. The numbers are they're quite huge, and even in the United States as well.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to know, how do we cope in this stay at home without having mental illness due to domestic spending?
So it is all about prioritizing. It's all about spending on the really necessary things. It's all about having a structure in the home in terms of what you want to do, in terms of what is available. This is the time when the partners should understand what is available to spend. It's not the time that the husband will keep his wallet and the wife will think there is 100,000 out there when it's just actually 10,000 that is there. This is the time to just be open to your spouse and say, look, um, we are in the lockdown, but actually this is about how much is available for us. Let's work together and go through this time together with these resources that is available. And when that openness is there, then you realize that you can actually support each other in the area. If you've not been managing a single financial system, both of you can actually put together what each have and say, okay, this is all that the family will have. How do we go through it? This is the time to what the children will be probably asking for you to take time to let them know, oh, you can't have the ice cream this time around. Anyway, the supermarkets are not open, so that's a very good excuse. The other day I went out and as I was coming back, my daughter was expecting an ice cream. I said, oh, sorry, the supermarket didn't have an ice cream today, so I could not get that for you. Even the children will understand. No, they've seen that mommy had not been going out, daddy had not been going out, and therefore they understand that it's a good time. So it is about managing your spending. It's about prioritizing. Let's put our funds for the things that really will help us to go through, which is food, water, a few medications just in case you're not feeling well. You're able to take care of that. If you are working from home, well, you have to make sure that you have power so that you can do your work at least during the working hours like we are doing, and even after that. Yeah, that's well. So with that, you are able to manage the stress related to financial spending during this time. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jatto. It's been an enlightening, informative session with you. It's also been inspiring from some of the comments we've seen and the questions we've seen. We do hope that people will be able to take some of these tips and help them, adjust, in measured ways to the lockdown period. It's not a death sentence. It's not the end of everything there. We will return to life almost as we know it, due course. But we need to deal with this right now. And thank you for all the nuggets at the end of it. Thank you, everybody, for all the questions you've sent. This has been our edition of Blue Talks, today addressing mental health needs during COVID-19 outbreak. Until next time.